If you're still working a job in 2025, it's not because you're responsible, it's because you're trained to stay broke. My name is David Price. I got my insurance license in 2018, made over $1 million my first 36 months. My fourth year was able to put $1 million in my bank in a single year. And 1 year ago, started my own insurance business where we did over $10 million in production and helped over 10,000 families. So today we're gonna go over the difference between a W-2 job and a 1099 or having your own business, and why we're so trained a W-2 job is a safe, secure job. This is coming from someone who worked plenty of jobs. And think about this. We start off in school and we're told, get good grades, get a good job, right? And that's what we're told throughout our whole childhood. Then we get into high school and they're like, listen, it's gonna be really important to have these good grades now because you're gonna need the good grades to get into college. And then you're gonna need good grades in the college because you need to get a job, right? So from day one, that's it. We're always trying to get to that next level, which is that next level to get to that job. Then we get out of college and it's time to enter the job force. And this is where no one really even knows how to get a job. I actually learned this as an entrepreneur because I remember when I was trying to get a job, what I would do is I would apply for like a few jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 5 jobs. Think about this. If you want to get a good job, what would you do? You would apply for 30, 60 jobs a day. You would apply for so many jobs that you have so many great offers and so many great opportunities to choose from. But that is how an entrepreneur thinks, because they understand that more opportunities, more shots is going to yield you better results. So you finally get your job, you're super excited. And what do? They start you at the lowest possible income possible. And, you know, I remember talking to people that go to law school and come out of law school and they're offered minimum amounts of money when we're told if you get your law degree, you're going to make all this money and life's going to be good. And I remember getting my first like real career job where I was really excited about that. And I believe they started at like $36,000 a year. So that's less than $20 an hour. And then I remember getting a $5,000 a month raise, or no, I'm sorry, a $5,000 a year raise, right? I'm thinking about, you know, as an entrepreneur, you could increase your pay $5,000 a month, but $5,000 a year raise, and that sounds great, right? $5,000, wow, man, I'm getting a $5,000 raise. Well, what is a $5,000 raise? That is $100 a week minus taxes. Like, will your life change drastically with a $100 raise a week? Right? Probably not. Most people's won't. And that's it. That's the world as an employee. And they tell you you're safe and you do that for a while and then you get another raise. Basically, your raises are just lined up to match the level of inflation. Basically, as you make more money, things actually cost more money. You think you're making more money, so you start spending more, you start increasing your lifestyle because you don't realize that your lifestyle already costs more because of inflation. So I did that. Like I said, I got out of high school. I delivered pizzas for a while, joined the Army. I was in the Army for 4 years. After Army, I went out to Africa, worked for a company. They were paying me 80 grand a year. I thought I was making all the money in the world. But what I didn't realize is I like literally lived in a tent and I lived in Africa and I worked 12 hours a day for 4 months straight just to take off 3 weeks, right? I traded a year of my life for $80,000, which in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a good deal at all, right? And then after that, went back home to New Jersey and I worked in the oil business and I worked my way up. And I remember getting to where I was making $70,000 a year. And I thought I was set. I thought I was making so much money. That's less than $2,000 a week. I mean, that's like $1,500 a week. You know, it's definitely hard to live on that. So fast forward, I decided to start a few different businesses. And the one I want to really focus on right now is insurance. So 2018, I decided to get my insurance license. And the reason I decided to get my insurance license is, one, I could work where I want. I could work with whoever I want. I have total freedom. Like, you could actually live in another country on an island somewhere. I mean, matter of fact, I'm shooting this from Puerto Rico, and you can sell insurance on the phone to somebody in the States, you know, as long as you have an insurance license. I'm like, man, that sounds like a really good deal. But let's talk about, first off, what do you have to do to get your insurance license? Well, think about this. So for me to get that job to make $70,000 a year, basically it took me 4 to let's say 6 years to like be in that spot where I'm making $70,000 a year. You get your insurance license, right? You work for yourself, you're a 1099. So what does that mean when you're a 1099? A lot of times people will look at that and be like, well, if you're a 1099, that means you don't really have job security. I tell you what, no good salesperson ever has a hard time finding a job. Think about that. No good salesperson. When they have lots of layoffs, the salespeople never get laid off, right? Who gets laid off? Everybody else, right? They get laid off. Why do salespeople not get laid off? Because they're the ones creating the revenue, right? Speaking of laying off, Amazon just announced they're going to lay off 30,000 people, right? Because of AI. That's something that everybody needs to take serious. You know, if you're an employee and you could easily be replaced by AI, hey, it's David Price here. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed something from it. If there is something that you enjoyed, if you want to hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that little bell button, which will give you the notification every time I release a new video. I want to make sure I keep you up to date on everything I learn as I learn it, so hopefully you don't have to make as many mistakes as I made, and you can have a clear path to success. Also, if there's something else you want to see, put that in the comments. And if there's somebody that you think may gain some help by watching this video, share this video with them. It'll take you a moment and it'll mean the world to me, because ultimately I want to help as many people as I can. And if you could help with that, I would really appreciate it. Plus, we'll get to put some more good karma out there into the world. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. It's time to learn a sales skill, or a skill that can't be replaced. And sales is going to be something very hard for AI to replace, because people want to buy things from human beings, right? That's what it's going to come down to, especially insurance. You got to think about insurance. Insurance is going to be something that it's very personal, and it's something that you want to make sure, because if I buy an insurance policy, when the person uses that policy, I'm not going to be around. So like, I want to feel really good, and I want to make sure there's a human being involved with that purchase. So to get your insurance license, it took me, in the state of Florida, a 40-hour course that I was able to do online. With a 40-hour course, I'm able to get my insurance license. With the insurance license, I was able to live anywhere that I want, right? So you have location freedom. Then I had to learn how to sell insurance. So it took me, let's say it took me a good year to really understand and get proficient at selling insurance, right? Doesn't mean I didn't make sales before, doesn't mean I didn't understand some of the processes before, but a year of experience. And my first 1099, so after I had my year experience, was over $200,000. There's nothing in my life that I did before that was going to yield me $200,000 in income. And for me, I was like, man, $200,000, this is great. What I realized is the money insurance compounds year after year. My second full year in insurance, I made over $500,000. So think about this. When you work a job, let's say you're making $100,000 at your job. If they give you a 5% raise, that is typically a good raise. Well, 100,000, a 5% raise, that's $105,000. Do you think your life's going to change drastically going from $100,000 to $105,000 in income? Like, no, your life's not changing. Nothing's changing in your life. Do you think your life would change drastically if your income goes from 200K to 500K? Everything changes in your life. The car you drive changes, the house you live in changes, the vacations you go on changes, every single thing in your life changes. I don't know if my results are typical, right? I'm not going to say my results are typical, but let's say you had a 50% increase in your income, right? You went from 200K to 300K. Huge difference, you know. So insurance is just something that you're able to really control your income. You're able to control how much you work. You're able to control your location. One of my agents, they live in a camper. They travel all around the country. They live in campsites. He sells insurance from a picnic table at his campsite with his little tent office that he has. So it gives you all kinds of different freedom. Yet for some reason, people see this and they keep working at this job that they don't like. They keep hoping to get a raise. You know, one thing that I really didn't like when I was working at a job was having to call my boss and say, hey, I don't feel good today. Like, there's so many times I went to work feeling like crap because I didn't want to call out, right? I wanted to be a great employee. And that doesn't exist when you work for yourself. If you're still working a job in 2025, what can you do to change that? What I do suggest is you find the path. Like, what is the path to freedom? What is the path that you can follow to get out of the situation that you're in? For me, I would want to learn sales. I like insurance because it's recession proof. You know, when the interest rates changed and real estate got really affected, the mortgage industry got affected, insurance stayed the same. Things didn't change with final expense, which is what I sell. So I like to sell something with a growing market. 10,000 people turn 65 every single day. So we have a growing and expanding market. Getting your insurance license could be as easy as signing up for a course that you work on the weekends or in the evenings. Took me maybe a week to finish the insurance course. I've seen people finish it in 2-3 days. Obviously, it depends on how much time you put into it. So getting an insurance license, on your days off, on the weekends, so that way now you have a license, right? You have a license. It's just like going to college to get a degree, but this is a lot more simple, a lot easier, and the return is much greater. Now, once you have the license, then what's the next step? The next step is find somebody that's going to mentor you. Super important. A lot of times people will try to do this on their own. They won't ask for help. They won't be successful because of it. It's really hard to figure out how to be successful in something new if you haven't been successful. And the other thing is too, is like the mentor is the shortcut, right? Find the path to make it as simple as possible. So you find the mentor, and then you have to make a time commitment to learn this new skill. And don't be upset like if it's harder than you think. Like it's like, okay, I guess there's more I need to know. I guess there's more I need to understand, and get committed to going through the process until you learn it. So if it takes you a year to learn this skill, so what? If it takes you 2 years to learn the skill, so what? What you're doing now is you're leveraging and putting yourself in a place to, one, you don't have to be held hostage by your job anymore, and two, you can really control your income. And you start selling some insurance on the side, on the weekends. You start learning how to work leads. You start learning the processes until you feel confident and comfortable enough where you can make the switch and work for yourself and control your time, control your income, and control the people that you work with. From anywhere that you want. There's nothing wrong with working a job, but I truly believe if you want total freedom, or if you're worried about security, it's not the job that's going to give you security. It's the skills that you learn to obtain that's going to give you the security that you're looking for. My name is David Price, and remember, never settle.